All right. So, as it stands now in July 2025, Alexander Argüelles, consummate language learner and professor who's learned God knows how many languages, is going through an Assamale manual on the Catalan language. He's showing us a little behind the scenes process and going through the manual on a live stream so we can all see how he actually learns languages, how the sausage gets made, so to speak. The thing is that he's an expert. He's done this many times before, and he already has access and knowledge of many Romance languages. So many of the stumbles and failings and struggles that you might normally see for a beginner, you're not going to see with him. You know, every once in a while, he might get pronunciation a little wrong or something like that. But he, by virtue of how much experience he has, is able to engage in the entire process with an ease and a fluency that the rest of us who don't have that background knowledge just can't match. I'm trying to learn Latin right now, and I thought it might be fun to live stream my goal of getting through Lingua Latina, the cult classic we all know and love. I'd like to get through the rest of the book in about a month. I put 30 days in the playlist just so it's nice and clean. I'm about at chapter 7 right now. So Alexander Argüelles is something of an inspiration, as is Luca Lampariello. I hope I said his name correctly. I got this sequence from him. There was a video he published. It was called something like "How I Would Learn a Language in 3 months," and he recommended the following sequence. So, one, you read and listen simultaneously to using the resource of your choice. Then you read the text, focusing on meaning. You listen to the audio, focusing on the sounds of the language. You read the text out loud, now that you're comfortable with pronunciation. You listen to the audio again, repeating what you hear as you hear it. This is using Alexander Argüelles' shadowing technique. And then you review any grammar notes you might need to clarify lingering doubts. And you review the previous day's material, either by rereading or re-listening. So I'm going to be going through Familia Romana in that fashion. I am going to try to do an entire chapter with that sequence on the live stream. I might run out of time before, I have something to do around 7 here. But I'm gonna try to get as much done as I possibly can and show you guys what this process looks like as a beginner goes through it. You're going to see me stumble. You're going to see me mispronounce things. You're going to see me struggle and maybe even get a little frustrated. I'm going to do my best to stick with it. And let me know if this is helpful to anybody else who is just beginning in their Latin journey or their language learning journey. And also comment with any tips that you might have. I'm always open to suggestions. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to start reading the text and listening simultaneously. Get my headphones ready. I have the audio pulled up on Link, Lingq, which is the maybe the primary language learning tool that I use. So it's going to be a little boring. I'm not going to be reading out loud yet. I'm just going to be reading and listening. But this is how the sausage gets made, right? Could use a bigger desk here. I apologize for any of the noises as I bump the desk and stand up and you hear the floorboards creak. It'll take me about 10 minutes to get through the first listen here. All right. So that was my first pass through chapter 7 of Familia Romana. As I was listening to the audio, I was reading through the text, matching my eyes to the words as they are spoken on the recording. Next, I'm going to go through and read the text, trying to focus on the meaning. I might not completely understand everything, but I'm going to do my best. I I particularly struggle with Latin pronouns as an example, um, because they're more abstract than, say, a noun. You know, an apple. I have a mental image of an apple that I can kind of attach that Latin word to. I have a mental image of a pear. I have a mental image of a boy or a girl. When it comes to more abstract vocabulary, interrogatives, like what in its various forms, or, this, that, he, she, it, there's no such mental image. There's 3 different genders for those things, and there's various ways that those words are declined, which make them, at least for me, more difficult to learn. But I'm going to trust the process, and I think that if I stick with it, I do some grammar review, and I'm just seeing these words in context a lot, I'll get there eventually. So go on to the next step. I'm just going to be going through, reading the text. Again, it's going to be a little boring to watch. Not a lot of movement, just me reading through, trying to get a pretty accurate idea of what's going on. All right. So I've read through the text, trying to get the meaning of what's going on, couple funny bits in there, some sweet family moments. This Marcus kid is a real brat, and I'll say that. Can't wait to see what happens to him. I hope it's something. So that's step two out of our 7-step system that we're working. Now I'm going to go back, having read the text twice, listened once, and I'm going to focus on the sounds of the language. I want to hear the march of the syllables, the rhythm, the sustention of the short and long vowels, and get a sense for how Latin sounds, how the say like the double C sounds or the double L sounds are pronounced. So that'll be about another 10 minutes, 9, 10 minutes. All right, I listened to the audio, focusing on the sounds of the language, the way the syllables fit together, the way at least the recording, the man of the recording is pronouncing it. I'm going to take a break for just a couple minutes. I've been doing this for about 40 minutes now. I want to make sure my focus is staying sharp. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to read the text out loud as my next step. All right, I took a little break, stretched my legs, did some air squats like Dr. Argüelles recommends. Sharp body leads to a sharp mind. When I was doing the previous step, listening to the audio, like I said, I was just focusing on the sounds of the language. I wasn't pushing myself to understand each and every single thing. Some of that happens automatically by being familiar with some of the words, but I'm more focused on the music of the language than the content of the story, at least in that step. I wasn't looking at the text. I was just going audio only. A lot of times I'll close my eyes or kind of stare off into space, trying to, as much as I can, keep my focus on what I'm hearing rather than what I'm seeing or letting things distract me. This is now going to be my first recitation of the text. As you'll see, my pronunciation is still very beginner-ish. It's a work in progress. That's the whole point of this little challenge that I've set for myself. Now, this will be my first recitation of the text. Capitulum septimum, Puella et Rosa. Ecce Marcus et Quintus ante ostium vilae. Pueri Julium expectant. Mater non est apud filius. Ea in peristilo est. Illic virum sum expectat. Aemilia laeta non est, quia Julius abest. nam Aemilia virum sum amat. Ubi est Julia? In cubiculo suo est. Julia, quae sola est illic, rosam ante nasum tenet. Puella lacrimat, in oculis eius sunt lacrimae. Julia speculum sumit, et ante oculus tenet. Puella se in speculo videt, et se interrogat. Esne foedus nasus meus. Nasus eius autem formosus non est. Julia rorsus lacrimat. Sira ostium cubiculi pulsat. Julia intra. Sira ostium aperit, et in cubiculum intrat, neque neque ostium post se claudit. Julia siram post se in speculo videt. Sira non videt lacrimas Juliae. Nam puella se non vertit. Sira, hic est mea puella. Veni in hortum, Julia. Julia imperat. Claude ostium encilla peret. Julia. Num nasus meus foedus est, sira? Sira. Foedus? Imo formosus est nasus tus. Julia se vertit. Iam sira lacrimas videt. Sira. Quid est mea Julia? Terge oculos. Oculos. Es laeta. Nasus tus tam formosus est quam meus. Quam meus. Julia. Sed nasus tus non formosus est. Sira. Quid? Nonne formosus est nasus meus. Julia. Imo foedus est. Ecce speculum, sira. Julia speculum tenet ante siram, quae nasum sum in speculo videt. Ancilla oculos claudit, et tacet. Tacet? Ecce Julius ad vilam advenit. Servi lecticam ante ostium ponunt. Pater filios salutat. Salvete filii! Et a filiis salutator. Salve pater. Julius ambulat ad ostium, quod ab ostiario aperitor. Dominus per ostium in vilam intrat, post eum veniunt. Cyrus et Leander, qui duos sacos portant, ostiarius post eos ostium claudit. Ursus et Davus cum lectica vacua discedunt. Pueri sacos plenos, qui a servis portantor vident, et interrogant. Qui inest sacis? Julius respondet. In sacco quem Leander portat mala insunt. Hic sacum pone Leander. Leander sacum ponit ante Julium, qui aperit eum. Julius. Videte pueri. Hic saccus plenus malorum est. Julius malum e sacco sumit, et se vertit ad Marcum. Ecce malum tum, Marce. Julius Marcu malum dat. Pater filio suo magnum malum dat. Iam Marcus malum habet. Neque Quintus malum habet. Julius Quintum ad se vocat, et e malum dat. Julius Quinto malum dat. Iam et Marcus et Quintus mala habent. Marcus, quid inest sacco Siri? Julius, in sacco eos pira insunt. Aperi saccum Sire. Videte pueri. Hic saccus plenus est pirorum. Hic saccus plenus est pirorum. Julius duo pira e sacco sumit. Ecce pirum tum, Marce, et tum quinte. Pater filiis suis pira dat. Filii, qui iam non solum mala, sed etiam pira habent. Laeti sunt. Servi autem neque mala, neque pira habent. Quintus. Etiam servis da mala et pira pater. Julius Sirum et Leandrum servos ad se vocat et is mala et pira dat. Dominus servis mala et pira dat. Aemilia cum Delia e Peristilo in atrium intrat. Laeta ad Julium adit. Eumque salutat. Aemilia viro suo osculum dat. Julius Aemiliae osculum dat. Julius, quid agit Julia? Aemilia, rosas carpit in horto. Julius, corrite in hortum pueri, et vocate eam. Quintus corrit. Marcus non corrit, sed ambulat. This kid, I'm telling you. Julius imperat. Age, corre, Marce. Etiam Marcus corrit. Yeah, now he listens. Pueri per peristilum in hortum corrunt. Illic autem puella non est. Pueri ex horto per peristilum in atrium ambulant. Marcus. Julia neque in horto, neque in peristilo est. Aemilia, esne sira in horto? Quintus, non est. Nulla in cila illic est. Aemilia, non solum Julia, sed etiam sira abest. Delia, ad cubiculum Juliae. Delia ad cubiculum Juliae it. Ostium pulsat, aperit, in cubiculum intrat. Illic non solum Julia, sed etiam sira est. Oculi Juliae pleni sunt lacrimarum. Delia, veni in atrium, Julia. Illic pater tus te expectat. Julia oculos et nasum terget, rosam sumit, e cubiculo exit. Sira et Delia post eam exeunt. Julia in atrium ad Julium corrit, aeque osculum dat. Julia, ecce rosa, non e pulcra est haec rosa. Julius, nulla rosa tam pulcra est quam filia mea. Julius filiae suae osculum dat. Iamne lacrimat Julia, imo. Laeta est et ridet. Julia, num nasus meus foedus est? Julius, foedus. Imo tam formosus est quam. Hoc malum. Ecce malum tum, Julia. Pater filiae malum magnum et formosum dat. Julia malum terget et ante oculos tenet. Julia, o quam formosus est hoc malum, puella laita malo suo osculum dat. Julius, hoc pirum etiam tum est, Julia. Julius, pirum dat. Iam puella et malum et pirum habet. Aemilia, etiam ancilis meis mala et pirata. Julius ancilas ad se vocat, et is quoque mala et pira dat. Ancillae laetae ex atrio exeunt. Cui Julius malum dat, puero malum dat. Puer cui Julius malum dat, est filius eius. Cui Julius osculum dat, puellae osculum dat. Puella cui Julius osculum dat, filia eius est. All right. So you hear me struggle with the pronunciation of some words. I feel like that's pretty normal. Some things for further study. Now, my next step is to listen to the audio again, repeating what I hear as I hear it. So I'm going to try shadowing this chapter. I'm not going to look at the text. I'm just going to listen and repeat. This is really, really hard for me. When I first watched it, Alexander Argüelles makes it look easy. Some of these more advanced language learners make it look easy. I've never learned a language before, aside from English. I've never taken a Latin class. I took some Spanish in school. I took some Mandarin in school. I don't remember a lick of it. I never got far in either language. I would never say that I learned pretty much anything about any language, aside from how to say hola and ni hao. And so, like, my ears aren't trained. My tongue is not trained in the way that some of our favorite language YouTubers might be. So you'll hear me stumble. You'll hear me drop some sentences. You'll hear me get a little frustrated, but I am convinced that this technique is at least worth giving a shot, and that if I stick with it, I could really stand to benefit from it as a learner. So I'm going to take my speed down. We're going to try 80% and see if it'll help me keep up. I apologize for staying clear in my throat. Have some water here for that purpose. Sex septimum, puella et rosa. Ecce Marcus et Quintus ante ostium vide, pueri Iulium expectant. Mater non est apud filius, ea imperi stilo est. Illic virum sum expectat. Emilia laeta non est, quia Iulius abest. Nam Emilia virum sum amat. Ubi est Julia, in cubiculo suo est. Julia qui sola est in illic rosam ante nasum tenet. Puella lacrimat in oculus eus sunt lacrimae. Julia speculum sumit et ante oculos tenet. Puella se in speculo videt et se interrogat. Est ne foedus nasus eus autem formosus non est. Julia rorsus lacrimat, sira osium cubiculi pulsat. Julia entra sira ostium apparit et in cubiculum intrat, neque ostium post se claudit. Julia siram post se in speculo videt. Sira non videt lacrimas Juliae, nam puella se non vertit. Sira, hic est mea puella, veni in ortum Julia. Julia imperat claude ostium ancilla paret. Julia, nom nasus meus foedus est, sira. Sira foedus, imo formosus est nasus tuus. Julia se vertit, iam sira lacrimas videt. Sira, quid est mea Julia, terge oculos es leita, nosus tuus tam formosus est quam eus. Julia, sed nasus tuus non formosus est. Sira, quid? Non ne formosus est nasus meus. Julia, idimo foedus est, ecce speculum sira. Julias speculum tenet ante siram, quae nasum sum in speculo videt. Ancilla oculos claudit et tacet. Ecce Julius ad vilam advenit, servi lecticam ante ostium ponunt. Pater filius salutat, salvete filii, ita filiis salutator, salve pater. Julius ambulat ad ostium quod apparitor. Dominus per ostium in vilam intrat. Post eum veniunt Cyrus et Leander, quid duos sacus portant. Ostiarius post eos ostium claudit. Ursus et Davus discedunt. Pueri sacos plenus, qui portantor, vident et interrogant, quid in est in sacis? Julius respondet, in sacco quem Leander portat mala insunt. Hic sacum pone Leander. Leander sacum ponit ante Julium, qui periteum. Julius videte poere hic saccus plenus malorum est. Julius malum sacco sumit. Et se vertit et Marco ecce malum tum marce. Julius Marco malum dat. Pater filius suo magnum malum dat. Iam Marcus malum habet, neque Quintus malum habet. Julius Quintum ad se vocat et malum dat. Julius Quinto malum dat. Iam et Marcus et Quintus mala habent. Marcus, quid in est in saculus Julius in sacco eos pira insunt, ape videte pueri, hic saccos pirorum. Julius duo pira in saculo sunt, ecce pirum tum marce et tum quinte. Pater filiis sumis pira dat, filii qui iam non solum mala, sed etiam pira habent. servi autem neque male neque pira habent. Quintus, etiam servis da mala et pira pater Julius Sirum et Leandrum servos et ad se vocat et is mala et pira dat. Dominus servis mala et pira dat. Emilia cum Delia eperistilio in atrium intrat leta ad Iulium Aemilia viro suo osculum dat. Iulius Aemiliae in osculum dat. Iulius quid agit Iulia Aemilia rosas carpit in horto. Iulius cor et vecate eam quintus corrit, Marcus non corrit, sed ambulat. Iulius imperat, age, corre marci, etiam Marcus corrit. Mueri per peristilum in illic autem puella non est. Pueri exhorto per peristilo in atrio ambulant. Marcus Julia neque norto neque imperi stilo est. Aemilia estne sira in horto. Quintus non est. Nulla ancilla in illic est. Aemilia non solum Julia, sed etiam sira abest. Delia et cubiculum Juliae. Delia ad cubiculum Julii it ostium pulsat abe in cubiculum intrat. Illic non solum Julia, sed etiam sira est. Oculi Juliae plene sunt lacrimarum. Delia veni natrium Julia, illic pater tuus te expectat. Julia oculos et nasum terget, rosam sumit, et cubiculo exit. Sira et Delia post eam exerunt. Julia in atrio et Julium corrit. Julia ecce rosam. Nonne pulchre est ec rosa. Julius nulla rosa tam pulchro est quam filia mea Julia asculum dat. Iam ne lacrimat Julia immo laeta est et ridet. Julia num nasus meus foedus est. Julius fedus immo tam formosus est quam hoc malum ecce malum tuum Julia pater filiae Julia malum terget et ante oculos tenet. Julia, o quam formosum est hoc malum puella laeta malus suo osculum dat. Julius, hoc pirum etiam tuum est Julia. Julius pirum dat. Iam puella et malum et pirum habet. Ja Emilia etiam ancillis meis mali et pira da. Julius ancillas ad se vocat, et iis quoque mala et pira dat. Ancillae laete ex atrio exeunt. Cui Julius malum dat. Puero malum dat. Puer cui Julius malum dat est filius eius, cui Julius osculum dat. Puellae osculum dat. Puella cui Julius osculum dat. Filia eius est. Whew, all right, that was rough. That's usually the hardest part for me personally. I've tried the shadowing a few times. I was really skeptical at first, but gave it a bit of an honest go for a couple of the chapters. And for as embarrassing as it is to struggle so much with pronouncing basic words, I feel my brain working in a way that feels like it's going to be really beneficial if I just keep doing it. Something being hard is not um, a sign that you shouldn't be doing it. And I think if I do this for a month, I'll be able to tell more if it's going to be a practice I should continue long term. All right, so now we check the time here. I'm going to go through the chapter. I'm going to look in the margins at the grammar notes, and I'm going to just clarify any maybe lingering doubts that I might have if I'm a little fuzzy on what a particular word means, especially those more abstract pieces of vocabulary that I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. And then I'm going to go through the grammar section as well and just get an overview. It doesn't have to be 100%. It'll come with time. All right, we're seeing here that the preposition in governs the accusative case. And they're really hammering prepositions at the during the last chapter, so that's going to obviously be important. It's one of the first words in the book. In hortum ex horto. Hortus, hortum, hortus. Ex ablative. Imo formosus, non foedus, sed formosus. Okay, so it's like indeed or sunt este. Interesting. Ostiarius is a servant who opens and closes the door. What a job. In we ex we so that matches what we determined before. In governs accusative, ex governs ablative. Malum can easily mix that up with the word for like bad or wicked. Planus is the antonym of vacus. In est, in is inside. In sunt, there, therein. In est, in sunt. Sacum is a pronoun. All right, synonyms, solum and tantum. It's like only, alone, or only. Neque. Et. And now, Hope Malum. Okay. Like this apple. It's the apple that's with me. Ixacus. Hike rosa. Hike hook. A. Julius, A. Julius gives a pear to her. Puero. To the boy, to the girl. Cui, to whom? Is. All right. So I did the margin notes. I'm going to, real quick, before I have to hop off, just go through the Grammatica Latina. Dativus masculinum. It's the masculine dative case. Julius servo, Sierro. So the servant is Sierra. Huh. No, it can't be it. Sirrus, Sierro, Sierra. So the servant, her name is Sierra. Oh, okay. So I guess if we had a, where's our, oh, we had the other servant. Sirrus. Okay, I see. So there's a, I forgot, there's a male servant named Sirrus, and another named Sierra. So I was giving an apple to Sirrus, Julius servo, malum dat, Julius servis, to the servants, Ciro et Leandro. He gives, okay, servo dativus singularis est, dative singular, servis est dativus pluralis. Servis is the dative plural. O, dative singular, is dative plural. Femininum, Ancillae, Sirae, malum dat, to the handmaid, to the handmaids, Sirae, Deliae, maladat. He gives an apple to. Ancillae est dativus singularis, ancillis dativus pluralis, dativus singularis, pluralis is, orum isas is, neutrum. So our neuter is going to be fluius opido aquam dat, to the city. Okay, so like the river gives water. Rivers, orum is. No, it's orum is. Rivers give water to the cities. Dative opido. All right. Okay. So my next step is going to be to turn back to the previous chapter. And for today, that's going to be chapter 6, Via Latina, and give a reread of that. I can also re-listen. That counts too. I really want to amp up both abilities, but I really want to amp up my reading ability because as I get to more advanced text, there's going to be fewer and fewer audio resources available. I'm not going to have time to do that on the stream. But these will probably take an hour and a half, if this is any indication. So I'm going to hop off, and I will see you guys for chapter 8. Any suggestions, comments, anything I can do to improve the experience, let me know. If anyone watches this, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later.